My name is Lesa Cline-Ransome, and I'm the author of nearly 30 books for young readers. One of the things I most love about writing is being able to tell stories from history through the lens of people of color and women, people whose stories haven't always been told or heard. These are important stories that are often the most difficult and painful parts of this country's past. But I believe that it's only when we look back honestly that we begin to learn and grow and heal from the truth of history. In my novel, For Lamb, my very first book for young adults, I tell the story of the title character, 16-year-old Lamb Clark and her family, living, loving, and navigating their way through Jim Crow, Mississippi. Her brother, Simeon, a brilliant high school senior, is making plans to go north to college where a scholarship awaits, yet he is impatient for change coming too slowly to his community. Their mother, Marion, is shaped by her knowledge of the past and worried about the future for her children. She loves deeply and parents firmly and honestly, but is rightfully concerned for their safety. Lamb, she's tired of being the peacemaker between her mother and her brother. She's tired of always being predictable, always boring. And so she craves the freedom to make her own choices, even if her choices involve secretly seeking out her estranged father, Chester, and crossing the forbidden color line and befriending Marnie, a white but fellow book lover whose family are avowed racists. For Lamb is a historical novel, and it's a snapshot of one segregated community, and it's the setting for the untold stories of female victims of racial violence in this country. But For Lamb is also a story of family and hope and survival and community and the power of enduring love in the face of evil. So I'm going to read to you a few chapters from For Lamb, and we're going to start with the prologue. Again, I'll show you this beautiful cover. Prologue. And then, there in the torchlight, I see her, pressed in close against the others, her face red as a fever sweat, hair bright as a flame. My friend. When the men let her go, I hear branches snapping and watch the crowd move closer. I search again for my friend, but I can't hardly tell one from the other in this crowd. Pressed in tight, each one of those white faces looks just like the next, smiling through shiny white teeth like a pack of hungry dogs. Simeon is long gone now, I suspect, far north, safe from this, from them, from all of it. A branch cracks as loud as a gunshot, and the crowd cheers. I stay hidden behind the bush, just past the fence, and look up through the leaves at the dark. Not a star in the sky tonight, but the flickers of gold from the embers light up the sky in what looks like fireflies. Pretty almost. Lamb. I ain't never seen my mama as someone who was saved. More like she sees God as the insurance man who comes around once a month collecting, and you pay up, because if you don't, you die without a halfway decent burial, laid out in some pitiful pine box. For my mama, Sunday service is like paying the insurance man. She don't like paying up, but knows it could be worse if she don't. I think for both of us, the best part of church is the music. Me singing in the choir and the two of us singing loud to the one hymn they play nearly every week that makes my mama reach over and touch my hand. Like just hearing it brings her right back to the day I was born. You wasn't nothing like your brother, screaming to be seen the minute he came into this world. Nope, you just looked at me real quiet with those big old eyes of yours. Miss Ruby helped deliver you, and I said to her, soon as you were in my arms, not making a sound, but watching me close, she's as quiet as a lamb. By the time your daddy came home, you hadn't even moved, and that's when I knew. He said to me, thinking we can name her Cora for my mama. I looked him right in his eyes, tired as I was, and said, her name is Lamb. He laughed some. Everybody did. You can't name her no Lamb. You out your mind, Marion? But I knew. I knew your name the minute I saw you. My lamb. You had me worried, though, quiet as you were. When I took you back home for my daddy's burial, you spent the whole time hiding behind me. And with Simeon about talking you to death, even my mama said she ain't never gonna speak if that boy don't stop talking for her. My mama wasn't right about much, but she was right about that. Your daddy used to ask me twice a day, morning and night, that lamb sure favors me and my people, don't she? And I'd have to say, yes, she do, Chester. But he was just asking because he could see you up under me all the time. He wanted a little piece of you too. You can't get my mama to talk much about the past. Ask her about where she grew up or anything about my daddy. She barely has 2 words to say. But the one thing she can talk about all day long is naming me Lamb. Like it was the one thing she did right in her life. But Daddy picked Simeon's name, right? I made the mistake of asking her once in the middle of her storytelling. She stopped me right there. Simeon is from the Bible. I picked his name too. Wasn't going to let no one name my children. It's always my children with my mama. Like she made us all by herself. My mama prides herself on not needing nobody to take care of hers. I suppose if there was a way to make us on her own, she would have done that too. After that, I never interrupted when she was talking about the past. She needed to tell it her way. I remember my daddy in pieces, but not enough to make him whole. Simeon says he remembers him living with us one day and packing his bags the next. Come the next week, here he comes back again, unpacking the suitcase he just packed. I don't remember a lot of fighting, just the quiet of my mama and daddy, sitting at a table, not speaking, working on a railroad, traveling to see his family, working all kinds of hours. Simeon and Mama told me all kinds of stories until we all knew. I knew the truth of it. He was gone for good. One thing I remember about my daddy is the smell of him. Like the smell of fresh cut wood and smoke, like the cigars I remember him smoking. And he was big. I'm expecting one day to be tall like him, but for now, I just took on being big boned and bright, my mama calls me, with skin as light as my daddy's. Not sure I'll ever be anywhere near as tall as Simeon or my mama, so I'm sure I'm never going to be as tall as I remember my daddy. One day, Mama stopped talking about Daddy altogether, and when she did, me and Simeon did too. I had just started school, and I was happy to finally not be away from Simeon for so much of the day when he was gone. Now Mama walked us both to school. Soon she said I'd walk with just Simeon. Didn't matter much to me. Walking in between the two of them was all I really needed. Mama told me I need to start speaking for myself once I got to school. Won't be no Simeon to tell the teacher what you need, she said to me. But I already knew that. I knew too I could find the words when I needed, but Simeon always had the right ones when I didn't. His words were pretty, and he could find a way to make them funny or mean or serious or smart anytime he wanted, without thinking much about it. I couldn't do all that with mine, but I knew I could get by fine until the school day was out and he'd be waiting for me by the door. What did you teach the class today? He used to ask me every day that first year, and I would laugh. I'm not the teacher, Simeon. No, but I bet you're the smartest one in that class. I shook my head. No, hung it low. Simeon always made me look at him. You are the smartest one in that class, Lamb. Don't you forget that. But Simeon, I'm not. You are what you say you are. Even young, Simeon always talked old, like he was born knowing what to say. So when the kids would make ba, ba sounds like a lamb when I walked past, I tried to remember what Simeon told me about being smart and being the best, even when I didn't always feel it. From what I remembered, Mama wasn't much different after Daddy left. Maybe a little happier, or as happy as Mama can be. Not long after Daddy left is when the Saturday party started up. Mama would start cooking early in the day, pot of neck bones and greens, cornbread. She'd fix us a cold supper early and draw our baths, get us into bed, and then she'd put on one of her nice flowery dresses, some lipstick, put music on the record player in the front room, and then we'd hear folks come in, loud and laughing. Couldn't call them her friends because Mama didn't have people she saw regular outside of those Saturday night parties. We opened up the door from Simeon's room just enough to get a peek to see who they were, and so Simeon could make up names for everyone, like Big Booby Bertha and Lil Marge. That'd make me laugh till I cried. Sometimes the floor would shake and the records would skip with all the dancing they were doing. We always knew when Mama's younger brother, Uncle Chime, came in. We could hear his voice above everyone else's. And before the night was over, he'd make his way into Simeon's room and check on us. I know y'all ain't asleep, so don't even play, he'd say, leaning in the doorway. I would run to hug him, even though I hated the smell of drink and sweat on his clothes. I'd hear some woman shouting behind him, "What you doing in there, Chime? Come on back out here and dance with me." Or, "Chime, it's your hand." But I loved that he always took a minute to check in on us. And I'll stop there. And I hope you'll continue reading for Lamb. Thank you so much for joining me today.